Welcome back to another edition of the Talking National League podcast, episode 34 it is on this Thursday evening. I'm pleased to be joined by James Harpin, also goes by the name of Football with My Gran. James, firstly, thanks for joining me on this Thursday evening to talk everything National League.
No worries, it's good to be here. Delighted to be back on YouTube, I guess. It's been a bit of a while. So
of course. You haven't been very active on YouTube recently. I know a lot of people have been crying for you to come back and upload a little bit more recently, but obviously you did upload on Tuesday night, which a lot of people were happy with.
Yeah, no, for sure. Obviously, work and I'm a bit older now, so work and studying and don't even go there. It's a busy life once you get to 23. Let's just say that.
Do you want to give those who don't know? Do you want to give your YouTube a plug and basically tell everyone what it's about?
Yeah, so me and my grandma, we go around the country watching Barnet. Sometimes it's good, sometimes not very good. At the moment, it's pretty good up until the last week when it's not been so good. But the YouTube's good. To be fair, she's a laugh. I'm not so much of a laugh. I'm a bit of a bore, but she's good. She's good. We ask her what the offside rule is. She still doesn't know. So
I saw that on Tuesday night. Yeah,
it's good. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's very entertaining. Obviously, usually with vlogs, it's just all about the atmosphere. We're not actually bothered about the person presenting the vlogs. It's more showing the game. But with yourself and your brand, it's just very interesting to see what your opinions are on the game. I think your take is probably you being the one who's gathering all the knowledge, telling people about the game and statistics, etc. And then your grandma's, I wouldn't say the comedy effect, but to a certain extent, I would.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I think that's sort of the nature of it. Is that I'd sort of pride myself in having quite decent football knowledge, I'd say. And then I'm with my grandma, who, the less said, the better about her football knowledge.
Yeah, it is really great, and we're not just saying that. I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this will recognise you. A few people have tuned in now at just below 30 at the moment. Please remember to like and subscribe. If you are new to the podcast, remember to subscribe and also drop the podcast a like. A few people have come in the chat. Ian's come and said, "Evening, Luke. Evening, all. Welcome to the live stream, Ian." We've also had Barrow on tour, a Barrow supporter saying, "Evening, welcome from League Two. Not doing too bad of a season at the moment." Chris has come in and said, "Up the bees." He's a Barnet supporter. And then we've also had non-league football writing videos that said, "Evening, boys, welcome to the stream too." I think without any further ado, we might as well get on with some of the predictions. Just for those who don't know, what we have been doing recently, we've been doing a prediction league and it's not been going too well from my perspective. I'm on 13 points after 2 game weeks, and the guests are on 16 points after 2 game weeks. I picked up 5 points on Monday's and Tuesday's fixtures, and then Paul, who was a guest on Monday evening when we previewed all the games, was obviously got 7 points. And it was that Halifax versus Solihull result that saved him. You think you can beat that, James?
Well, I've done a bit of research into this prediction. To be honest, I'm going to be competitive on this, but we'll see. We'll see what people think in the comments, because some of them might be a bit controversial, I think.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I've got a few controversial ones myself too. A few people have also come in. Emma Roberts, who's a Wrexham fan, said, "Come on, Wrexham." Not gonna. I don't even know what that name is. How's your acca, Chris? Obviously, this is Trevor, I think it is, who's obviously been on the podcast before. Said 2 losses in a row now, Luke. Without any further ado, let's get into the predictions then. So I'll just load it up here. The featured game is, of course, Wrexham versus Dorking. Notts are still top of the league at the moment, followed by Wrexham. Wrexham, of course, win their both games in hand and they can go back up to top of the league. But both sides are projected to get 112 points as it stands at the moment. Barnet, like you mentioned, in still a fairly comfortable position at the moment, 6 points clear in the playoffs with a game in hand on Bournemouth and obviously, and not Bournemouth, at Bromley. So would you say you're fairly comfortable in the playoffs at the moment?
I would have said that 1 week ago, but we've lost 3 in a row since then. So I don't know. It's tough, but at the same time, we were in exactly the same spot a week ago. We were 6 points above the playoffs with a game in hand, and nothing's actually changed. I think that there's so many teams in the race for the playoffs that they all sort of take points off each other. We've sort of built that gap now where we've got the leeway to lose a couple of games here and there. And like, if you don't lose games, you're going to be a title winning side, aren't you? So we're not that, are we? Notts and Wrexham don't lose games. Everyone else seems to lose games. Woking have lost games recently. Chesterfield are on a shocking run. We're not on a great run. And then like it's even Southend lost the other day, and then you go down and everyone beats everyone. It's just how it works in the National League. I'm if we pick up a result on Saturday, I'll be a lot more confident. But yeah, I mean the 3 in a row is sort of a bit jittery, but I'm confident. We got a good manager, we got a good squad. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's about regaining that momentum, isn't it? After the recent defeats that you've had, that Notts County result, I don't think you can read too much into that. No. But then of course the Torquay and Altrincham result, both those results, I think you'd be expected to win prior to those games. Did surprise me more probably the Altrincham result, because I thought, Barnet being back at home, haven't been at the Hive in a while, been so good away from home to get so many points from those 5 or 6 away fixtures in a row that you had. I felt like I'm quite surprised by that, especially considering Altrincham's current position, although Altrincham have improved and regained a bit of momentum recently too. Near the bottom of the league, the same old clubs seem to be down there. Maidstone, we've talked about them being cut adrift now, being the side that a lot of people are predicting to go down this season, and I'm almost certain for that. Scunthorpe, Torquay and Gateshead all have the potential, and it's gone off, but Scunthorpe, Torquay and Gateshead all have the potential to, of course, survive this season. But then again, you've got the likes of Yeovil, Dorking, York, Oldham, probably as far as up to Halifax, who could be dragged into the relegation zone very, very soon. Obviously, Dorking versus Torquay on Tuesday evening was a massive result for Dorking Wanderers. I think a lot of people were favouring Torquay during that game based off Torquay's recent form compared to Dorking's. But for Dorking to come from 2-1 down back to 3-2 and gain all 3 points, I thought was crucial and showed a lot of character from the side. As the same old saying goes, you can never write off the Wanderers. Then again, let's look at all the upcoming games then. So usually what we do, we allow the guest to pick the games. Which game would you like to go with first?
Should we get Halifax Maidenhead out of the way, as no one wants to talk about that?
No, not many people do. I try save Halifax to later on in the video, usually, because I don't really want to talk too much about them at the moment. But both sides, I think, are probably safe from relegation at the moment. Obviously, there's the potential about them both getting dragged into it. Maidenhead in 16th, Halifax in 15th. Honestly, is there too much for these two sides, to play for regarding this result? Maybe yes, to get further away from the relegation zone. But how do you see this game affair? And I'll firstly ask, what have you thought of Halifax recently?
Well, obviously, we came up a couple of weeks ago and we beat you 3-1. It was a weird game. It really was. So I'm going to talk from a Barnet perspective, really. We've changed system in the last couple of weeks to accommodate Harry Smith, who's a new signing. Obviously, he scored loads of goals since he's come in, but at the same time, we've become far more open at the back. And the first game we did that was Halifax, and we were so open. Halifax had numerous chances to take the lead. I mean, they did take the lead. They had numerous chances to double it. I think he hit the bar twice, hit the post. I think, they just didn't take their chances, and that's sort of what screwed them over in that game. And us being obviously a playoff side, we're clinical, we take a chance when we had them, and that's why we won the game. Halifax, obviously, the last 6 games, they've won 2 of them. You're drawing quite a few games at the moment. I saw a bit of the Boreham Wood game, scraped a point there. I mean, it's when you talk about Maidenhead, you know what you're going to get at Maidenhead. They're never going to be exciting. And like this, I can't see this game being too exciting. I'm not going to lie.
No, both sides don't score too many goals. Halifax have the second to worst attack in the league, 29 goals, and Maidenhead are 22nd on the worst attack in the league for 35 goals for Maidenhead. I can't see many goals at all. Maybe a bit biased, but I think Halifax will get the 3 points in this game, being at home, being at the Shea. We've still got a reasonably good home record, in my opinion. A good point, especially considering we 1-0 down to come back against Solihull. we're simply not taking our chances when we're on top in games. We turn off in vital situations, and then we struggle when we are on top to take our chances, and that's the problem with us at the moment. But for me, I'm going to go for a 1-0 Halifax win. What would your prediction be?
Well, we said there's not going to be many goals, so yeah, 0-0. I'm going to go 0-0.
0-0.
0-0.
Hopefully not, but
I think that's the only 0-0 I've predicted, so we'll
yeah,
get that one
not
out of the way.
maybe not a game for many people that will be wanting to tune into if you aren't off to a game on Saturday.
No.
If you do have your predictions, everyone, you can get involved with, of course, the predictions league that we've started. And yeah, just let us know in the comments your predictions for each games, and we'll come to them very, very shortly. Next game then, if you want, I can choose, or it's up to you.
Yeah, you go.
Let's have a look then at. Let's go to your club then. A bit of an alternate club, an alternate view. Barnet versus Aldershot then. Now, off air, we were talking a bit about Barnet recently. You just look at that form. 3 defeats in a row, those being against Notts County, Torquay and Altrincham. Aldershot, very, very inconsistent. Lost the last 2 games, those being against playoff contenders. Let's firstly just ask you a bit, how has it been at Barnet recently?
It's a tough one, because we went the whole of the winter period not really losing at all. We lost 1 game in, it was like 16 or 17, and it was to Southend when they were in great form. I think we went 12-13 unbeaten. We conceded 4 goals in 12 games or something, but we then had 6 away games on the trot after games got called off, etc. So we were slapping all the way around the country, playing difficult games away from home, and it did take its toll in the end. Obviously, we're still in the FA Trophy as well, so that's even more fixtures. I know everyone's got fixture congestion and stuff like that, but we've also picked up a couple of injuries along the way. And in the last 3 games, it showed. It really has showed. And Notts County, obviously, you can't take too much from that. I just don't even count losses to Notts County or Wrexham really, and like runs or stuff, because everyone's going to lose to them. But then the Torquay and the Altrincham games were really, really concerning. Torquay, they didn't show much at all, really, Torquay, but they still deservedly won the game. We did not have enough ball possession. We're playing far too direct. We've got a lot more direct in the last couple of games. We now play 3-5-2 as opposed to the 4-3-3, which was really, really, it was really efficient for us. We weren't pretty, but we were efficient. We were doing what we had to do to win games. But now it's sort of, I don't know, we're far more open at the back, and we rely a lot on legs in the middle of the pitch, and we're struggling. We're really struggling, just energy wise. And it showed on Tuesday night against Altrincham. We first half was one of the best first halves we played all season. Second half, we couldn't get near them. Could not get near them.
Yeah, I think the same old negatives seem to be coming into place for Barnet in the last 3 games, leaking goals, and that's something that we've talked about them improving recently, and that's been key to their success this season. Obviously, they're positives to go on to score goals, but also that they're not as leaky defensively as what they previously had. However, in the last 3 games, they've conceded 10 goals, and I think any side that concedes 4 goals at home to a mid-table side, and that's certainly what Altrincham are at the moment, shows a lot of warning signs, in my opinion. Is that something for you where going to this Aldershot game, Aldershot quite good going forward with the attackers that they have on show, such as Amaluza, Ryan Glover, those 2 names as well. Is that something for you that you think, oh no, I'm a little concerned going into this game now?
I wouldn't say I'm concerned. Teams aren't breaking us down. Altrincham didn't break us down. We gave them 4 goals. Like, if you go and watch the highlights, they're not goals. They're not well worked goals or anything. We've quite literally given them goals. It's our own doing, and that's sort of what we start. Obviously, so we started the season really well. The first 5 or 6 games we won all of them. We're top of the league. We've done really well. Then we went on a run of losing 6 in a row and conceded about 30 in that period. And basically, all the goals we conceded in that period were individual errors. So yes, we can talk about tactics, and yes, we can talk about systems, and we can talk about formations. We can talk about all of that. But if your players are literally chucking the ball to the opposition to score 6 yards out, that's not quite good enough. And we've sort of gone back to that the last two or 3 games. And it's really, really important that we sort of end that as soon as possible. You're gonna lose games, right? Every team is gonna lose games in this league. So I'm not worried about losing 3 in a row. It's when you start losing 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 that's when it starts to become concerning. And that's why a game against Aldershot on Saturday, then a game at home to Oldham on Tuesday. These two have got to be 6 points for us. If we get 6 points from these two games, I am 100% certain we get playoffs. We've just got to figure out how to get the points. I do not care if we win 1-0 and nothing happens all game. It's one of those.
Yeah, it's not about that. I know this time last season, I remember when Halifax were in a similar situation that Barnet were on. We couldn't care less about how we played on the field. We didn't care how many goals we scored. We just needed to win. And that's something that Barnet need to have. They need to have that winning mentality. And I think under a manager like Dean Brennan, I'm sure they can get that. And I think this is a game for Barnet, a perfect game for Barnet to get back to winning ways against an Aldershot side that are very inconsistent. Then again, Aldershot are the sort of side this season. We've seen them time and time again pick points up against the better sides in this division. Solihull, Bromley.
They beat us away. They beat us
away early on in the season. I remember that. Of course, the other one, Chesterfield, on that last Tuesday when they drew to them. I look at Aldershot there, and I look at them in the two previous games. That Wrexham game showed a lot of character and showed the potential of the squad that they can compete with a side like Wrexham for 90 minutes. But I look at the Dagenham game and I think, Barnet, in my opinion, need to get back to winning ways. I can't see them losing 4 in a row, maybe famous last words, but I'd be going for a 2-1 Barnet win. What would your prediction be?
I'm agreeing with you on that. 2-1 Barnet win. I can't see us losing 4 in a row. Maybe we might draw, but I just can't see us losing 4 in a row. I think we've got too much quality going forward. I'm pretty sure he'll make a couple of changes this week to freshen it up. Aldershot going to be knackered after coming off 2 very difficult games. Yeah, I back the boys. I do back the boys this week. 2-1.
Yeah. Right, well, quickly have a quick look at the chat, see what people have been saying recently. Just over 45 people on the stream at the moment. If you want to put a retweet on Twitter, share it on any social media place, please do, to get more people in the stream and give their thoughts on the games. We've also had Ali, who's a Woking supporter. Evening, Luke and James. Up the Woking. Darryl Sars, Red and White Army. Ian Bertram said, come on, Dorking. I think he's an Oldham fan, said Barnet, ? Trevor's come on and said, got to be a 0-0. And I think that was the Halifax Maidenhead result.
Definitely.
Mr. Luke, who's a Gateshead supporter. Away the lads from up north. Hello, Mr. Walsh and Harpin. You know the drill, Mr. Walsh. He also said, James looks like he works in an office taking calls. We're talking about that off air, weren't we, James?
I do work in an office, but I'm not taking calls. Don't worry. I work in finance.
Yeah. We've got someone else has come in. Scott Taylor said, just tuned in. Have you done counties predictions yet? No, we usually leave the games near the top of the league, including Wrexham and Notts County and Chesterfield, towards the end of the stream. So stick around for that one. Scott's also said, thanks, Ian. Come on, you pies. Top signing today as well. So, he's a Notts County supporter. And he's come back quickly and said, the one who I thought was an Oldham fan said, I'm a Maidstone fan and I'm sick of watching us. I don't go to games anymore. Come on, have a bit of
Stick with it.
It's a tough league, this. But anyway, let's get back to the predictions. James, it's your turn. What game would you like to go with next?
You know what? Let's go with Borehamwood Scunthorpe. I think there's definitely room for controversial opinions on this one.
Yeah, it's a hard one to predict this. When you look at the two sides, you look at the difference in the sides in the league, you'd say, oh, come on, that's a Borehamwood win. Borehamwood unbeaten in 5, I believe, drawn the last 3 games. Scunthorpe, certainly on a performance note, have improved recently. I think against Barnet, although they lost, performed well. Wrexham performed well. Got the first win under the new ownership, obviously, if you do count that Halifax game. Against Dagenham last Saturday. They're certainly showing signs of improvement, Scunthorpe, recently with the signings that they have brought in to adding to that squad. There's no way that Scunthorpe side is a relegation candidate considering the signings that they've just brought in, but they've got an awful lot of work to do to get out of the relegation zone. And I look at this game recently, Bournemouth not too good at home if you look at their home record. Obviously outside all the way down in 18th, a lot of draws at home. I'd be expecting Scunthorpe to get something out of this game. From my perspective, I'd be going for a 1-1 draw, just based off how many draws Bournemouth would have got at home. Long way for Scunthorpe. Scunthorpe still don't have the best away record in the division at all. The 1 win all season away from home. So I'd be going for a 1-1 draw in my opinion. Danny Elliott will be wanting to score against his old club too. What would your prediction be, and what are your thoughts on the games firstly?
Yeah, no, like it's a big game for both sides. Obviously, Borough were just outside the playoffs. They're trying to chase us down. Scunthorpe, obviously, they've got a massive battle to stay up, but they've made some great signings. And the Dagenham game last week, I think, really showed where they're at. And I do think that they're sort of on track to. I personally think they'll stay up now. When we beat them, I thought, yeah, I think there's not enough games for them to stay up, but the quick rise in performance. I know I spoke to Trevor actually about Scunthorpe when they got the new manager in, and he said they'll stay up, and but now I think they made some good signings. Obviously, Danny Elliott, Sean Shields from us, obviously hasn't played yet actually, but it's a good signing, and he'll do wonders there as well. They got Ben Richards Everton in from Yeovil. He done all right when he was with us. I know Yeovil didn't rate him, but Yeovil they seem to have. I don't know what's going on at that club, but they told us Dale Gorman was rubbish, and he's been one of our best players this season. So I'm sure Richards Everton can have the same impact at Scunthorpe. Scored on his debut, man of the match as well. They done all right against Wrexham the other day. I watched the highlights. They probably could have got something out of that game. Shame that Wrexham seem to get penalties every week, but we'll come on to that in a while. This game, Bournemouth 1, Scunthorpe 2, and that's not from a biased perspective. I do hope Scunthorpe get the result for Barnet, but I can see it happening. I can just see it happening. And actually, I've got a bet with a couple of my mates that Scunthorpe win that. So up the irons.
Praying for a win. If you want to, we can have a look at the betting odds if you would like.
No, it's all right.
We do often look. We've got obviously 73% that Bourne would win, and no, that's incorrect. 67% that Bourne would win, 15%. That can't be right. Not too sure. Little not inaccurate, I would say, but I'm guessing Bourne would have the favourites in this game.
Yes, they would.
But yeah, I see it's two physical sides, but Scunthorpe added to the physicality in the side of the likes of Joe McDonough, Sean Shields, Bournemouth, as they're always portrayed, a really physical side. So yeah, I can't split the two sides. I'm going to go for a win or draw, in my opinion. Next game, then, let's have a look at Eastleigh versus Bromley. Then two playoff. A big game. That's something that I will reiterate as well. Two playoff candidates at the moment. Bromley just outside of the playoffs. Eastleigh are in 7th place. Of course, Bromley do win this game. They can go above Eastleigh, but from my opinion, I'd be favouring Eastleigh simply on this home record. In my opinion, the third best home record in the division, and the two sides above them is Notts County and Chesterfield. They've dropped 2 draws and 3 defeats at home all season. Bromley, another physical side in this division, good going forward with the likes of Cheek and Marriott. But I look at Eastleigh at home at the moment and how good they are. They seem to be at home. I cannot see anything but an Eastleigh win, in my opinion. How would you see this game going?
Yeah, we played Eastleigh away a couple of weeks ago, and actually, I think how many games they lost at home all season? It's 2 or 3, isn't it? We went there and we made them look very, very, very ordinary and won that very convincingly, to be honest. But I said at the time, I said, look, they can't play like that every week. There's no way they can play like that every week and get the results that they get. And they're in good form at the moment. They've only lost 1 of their last 6, and that was obviously to us. They won the other 5. Then again, Bromley are also in half decent form. They've only lost 1 of the last 6, but 3 of them have been draws. From a Barnet perspective, give me a draw all day long. If this is a draw and we get a win, we're flying. For me, I know Eastleigh will be favourites. I think Bromley have enough going forward. From the game that I saw against Eastleigh, they're not that great when the balls get wide and people are running at them. People like Corey Whiteley would do unbelievable against their fullbacks. I'm going to go 2-2, high scoring game. Draw. I think there's 2 very good sides, and I can't really separate them.
So I was thinking, my prediction for this game, I'm going to go for. I can't see too much. I can't see there being a lot in it. Although I do think Eastleigh will win the game. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Eastleigh win, but it's a hard one to call. You look at 2 playoff candidates. You'd be looking at this thinking, does form go out the window at the moment? Does your home form go out the window? I think that's the question. It's your turn to pick the next game then. Which game would you like to go to? There's a few poor ones down near the bottom that we could get out of the way. Oops. Sorry about that. Are we back? Yeah, we are back. Which game would you like to look at?
Do you want to get one out the bottom? Let's go Maidstone Gateshead.
Maidstone versus Gateshead. Now, this is actually quite an interesting game because
it is.
both sides near and around the bottom at the moment. Obviously, Gateshead need. This is a game where I see Gateshead and I say must win in my opinion. Although Maidstone, if you want any chance of surviving this season, I'd say Maidstone it's a must win. So it's certainly going to be an open game in my opinion. Let's start with Maidstone at the moment. Are they a side for you that you think are out of it and have got no chance of surviving this season, or do you think there's still a slight chance that they could survive?
They're really lagging behind now. Like you've got to start picking up form February, March time if you want to stay up, especially when you're that far behind. They haven't really signed anyone half decent. Their squad's not great. They've got a manager that's obviously just started management. Nothing's really going their way at all. Haven't won in their last 6 either. It's looking pretty bleak for them. I can't see any real way out for them. Obviously they've got the FA Trophy as well. I think it's the quarter final. They're still in that. Obviously they've got us at home, so they'll be looking at it as an opportunity to get to Wembley. I'm not sure a team's ever gone down and won the trophy, but we'll.
Oh, we have. We did back in 2016.
There we go.
And that was a massive distraction for us. We were in probably a similar position that what we're in now, and because of the trophy, it seemed to be a massive distraction, and we fell right into it and finished in 21st place. I'm sure Maidstone will be hoping that they can win the trophy and have some positive end to the season, get a bit of money back in the club, and go again next season and try come back up, because that's what I see it as now. Maidstone the main aim is the trophy. I can't see them surviving, and then next season, plan for next season, have a good season next season, come back up, and this is the perfect scenario, come back up and be more stable, because at the moment, I know we've got Maidstone fan that's in the chat, I cannot see Maidstone surviving. They're 10 points behind safety at the moment, and they've got 3 extra games than what Yeovil have played, who are in 20th place at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm going to go. Yeah, I think with this game, Gateshead, we drew to them a couple of weeks ago. Actually, yeah, we drew 1-1. They're a decent side. They've been good all season on the ball. They're bad in both boxes. That's why they're near the bottom. But I think they've worked on that in the last couple of weeks. I think they're on a decent run. Yeah, they are actually. They won 3 of their last 6. I can only see one winner in this game. I know it's a long journey. It's one of those where you think, oh, is the journey going to cost them? But I've gone Gateshead 2-0.
I've gone Maidstone 2, Gateshead 2, and simply, obviously, you've got the long journey, like you mentioned, that you've got to bring into factor, but also the fact that both sides are going to be going for it. Both sides are going to want to win, which probably means it's going to be end to end. I think a high scoring draw is what I think. I think, if Maidstone are going to pick points up this season, this is a game where they need to. And like I mentioned, I think it's going to be a really open game. Yeah, I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. We'll quickly have a quick look at the chat, as I know a few people have been putting their predictions in recently. Where are we now? We are back up here. Yeah, there we go. Someone said, if Southend do go bust, how would this affect the league? What would you think the National League will do? Obviously, I don't want to, and I know we had a question on this on Monday's show. I don't want to talk too much on this at the moment, but probably what would happen is I'd probably predict that everyone would be awarded. Do you reckon everyone would be awarded 6 points, or do you reckon they just take away?
No, I had a discussion with someone about this the other day. Actually, I think what will happen, and obviously, hopefully this doesn't happen. But what I think they're planning to do is deduct 3 points off the teams that beat Southend. So basically, anyone or got a point against Southend, and then everyone is level. So any points gained against Southend will become void, basically, and then there'll be the thing that I don't know about is how many teams. Maybe there'll be one less relegation place. That's one thing that I think probably will be the case. But I have full confidence that they'll survive this. I can't see someone letting a club like Southend just fold. I can't see it.
Yeah, that's what I'd agree as well. I think they'll be fine until the end of the season, in my opinion. Yeah. Just over 50 people in the live stream at the moment. Please remember to like and subscribe. I'm sure there'll be 1 or 2 of you that haven't subscribed yet. So if you haven't, please remember to subscribe and drop the podcast a like. Also, we'll have a look at the latest chat quickly before we go back to the predictions. They're just coming in now, flooding in at the moment.
Did I say something controversial?
Yeah, you can do if you want. We just had. Yeah, there we go. We're back. Chris Gosling said, "Yeah, results would be wiped out." With Joe, guys, the Chesterfield fans come in. Good players don't make a good team. Like you say, a lot of work for Scunthorpe to do. So many signings with no time to get isn't going to be easy. Maidstone fans come in and said, "Mr. Luke, I think they'll null all of their results like Dover in the COVID season." Trevor said, as Chris says. Ian said, "Hi, Luke. I really hope they don't for all those loyal fans. They were superb Tuesday at Notts. Nearly 600 were there. Very vocal all game." Yeah, I saw that. And fair play to those Southend fans that made that long journey up on a Tuesday night and to support your club throughout the game, even when you're not playing. I wouldn't say not playing to your best of the ability. It's simply being outclassed like they were against the strong Notts County side. I think it's fair play to Southend supporters. We'll have a quick look down here at what people are saying. Phil has said Scunthorpe played brilliantly against us at the racecourse, but looked very light up front. Didn't really look like scoring. Lots of work effort, but very leggy towards the end though. Matthew, who's an Eastleigh fan, said we played Barnet. We were awful, but Barnet were one of the best sides I've seen all season. And I think that's something we have to take, because only Notts, Wrexham and Barnet are the sides to beat Eastleigh at Eastleigh. So you have to take that as a massive positive, in my opinion. Ian said, Matthew, how's Mitchell doing? We had Just Give Gateshead the 3 points. It's not worth their journey. Some positive thinking. A lot of Maidstone fans that are tuning in are very negative.
I would be as well, to be fair.
Yeah, we've had Aaron said the Stones have also played the most games, making less opportunities to get 3 points. Get the points, I should say. Aaron, I believe, is a Wrexham fan from abroad, so welcome to the stream, especially to our, as Wrexham say, our worldwide viewers that we're getting now. It's nice to see. See if there's any more. Finally, Trevor said, correct, Mr. Harpin. We've had Scott who's come in. Southend fans the other night were quality, fair play to them. And then Kobe, his YouTube, it's there, pick up EU. Aldershot are doing the double over Barnet.
I said I'd buy him a drink on Saturday, but not now.
Yeah, he's got a lot of confidence. I won't class it as arrogance as such, but a lot of confidence for Aldershot at the moment. Maybe I should invite Kobe on, because he can be a little biased towards Aldershot, so maybe I'll gain a few more points on him if he does come on. Aaron said, thank you. No, you're welcome, mate. Thanks for tuning into the stream. Back to the predictions, and that's probably enough of the live chat for now. Yeah, I think it's my turn. I'm going to get another poor game out of the way, and it's nothing disrespect to any of these two
that is a
sets
poor
of
game.
supporters, but York versus Yeovil. It was one of the easier ones to predict, and I'm going to say it out here now, a draw. Yeovil have the most draws in the division. York, very inconsistent at home, drew against Bournemouth in midweek. Both sides are lacking goals. Yeovil have scored the least amount of goals in the division this season. York also don't really have too much going forward either. How would you see this game going?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. A draw is definitely on the cards. I've gone 1-1 for the prediction, but I don't know. York, it's such an interesting one. Obviously, they've got trouble with the owner. I don't know how much that's played a part, but we lost 5-0 at home to them earlier in the season. I thought they were one of the best teams we've played all season. I do not know what's happened since, because obviously they sacked the manager, and then since then, I can't comment too much on York, to be honest. I don't really know. They looked a class above when we played them, and then since then it's all fallen apart. They've not won in their last 6. Yeovil, same sort of thing. They've got a good manager in there, but again, it seems like the owner's causing all kinds of havoc. They've got no physio at the moment. They can't sign anyone. They've got players injured playing for them. It's not good. It's not good. And both of these are being dragged into a relegation battle. They are, and they're both going to be having to fight for points here. But I can't see either doing too well. It's going to be a draw, and I feel bad for anyone going into that game of football, because it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, certainly. 2 other sides that are getting dragged into it, late runners for that relegation place. You know, you look at, I'd be very fearful as a Yeovil or York fan, you look at those sides below them, Gateshead, Torquay, Scunthorpe, all fighting for their lives at the bottom. Even Dorking, I honestly was starting to go on the side of, Dorking, if they've been found out now, I think they may go. They may go down. They may be my second side to go down. I think Maidstone, it's clear that they're going to go down this season. And I thought Dorking would join them, but then again, they somehow pick out a result against Torquay United during midweek, and now I'm thinking, Dorking, they're going to. Why do I keep saying that? Dorking, I think Dorking will survive. So if I was a Yeovil or York fan, I'd be very, very concerned at the moment. And I can't see anything but a draw in this game, in my opinion. Both sides. I looked at some stats on Yeovil recently, and going forward, they don't create chances, they don't take the chances. There's no recognised goal scorer in that team. So I think Yeovil are struggling, and I think the defence might be the reason that they save them. And the most amount of draws in the division, a hard side to beat in this division. But the thing is, they're drawing too many games, and you've only got 14 points from those 14 draws, where 6 wins gets you 18 points, and I think that tells you the story. But I'm going to go for a draw for that game. What game would you like to go to next then?
Should we go to one of the big teams? Let's go to Wrexham Dorking. Let's please the Welsh lot here.
Yeah, let's please the Welsh and of course the worldwide ones that are tuning in now. This is one that's probably one of the easiest ones to predict, and this is no disrespect to Dorking whatsoever, but Dorking go to sides trying to outclass the opposition. They play against a side that they simply can't outclass because they're playing against a League One side. Dorking chip a lot of goals. Wrexham score a lot of goals. Although Dorking do score a lot of goals themselves. I think it was great what Dorking did was to get all 3 points in midweek against Torquay, once again proving that they have that never say die attitude. But I look at this game and I think it's going to go off. Yeah, it's gone off. But I look at that game and I only see one winner, and I think it's going to be by a heavy margin. I'm going to go for a 5-0 Wrexham win. Sorry to any Dorking fans that have tuned in, but I think it's one of those games where you just enjoy the occasion. I do think they're taking over 200 fans up, so fair play to them. But I think it's one of those games where you just enjoy the occasion. You can't really take too much out of it. How do you see this game going?
I think Dorking win 4-1. No, I'm joking. No. To be honest, I actually think Wrexham have been sort of they've been struggling lately. I know. I say that, but they've won 5 and drawn 1 of their last 6. But they're eking away at games. They're not doing a Notts County and thrashing teams. They're struggling to get past teams. It's taking penalty. I know a penalty is a goal, but it is taking penalties that are controversial or not are being won, and they're scoring them, and it's getting them through games at the moment. But they are struggling. They've scored 16 in 6 games. That's not as many as they were scoring early on. But at the same time, Dorking, they've conceded 18 in 6. They've only scored 4 in that time, and 3 of them were the other night. I think they play far too open. They're too open to be in the National League, and I still think they'll go down. I said that all season. I said that from the start of the season when they beat us 1-0 right at home, but we could have won that 8-9, 10-1 with the chances we missed. I've never seen a game like it in my life. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the only clean sheets they've kept all season. I'm sorry, Dorking. I'm going to go 7-0 to Wrexham.
Right. 7-0. I'm going to talk a little bit about Wrexham, but just a question for the live chat. There's a lot of people in. I'm wanting to do a poll one day, as we are getting quite a lot of people that are tuning in now. But I can't seem to know how to do it at the moment. But I'm going to ask people, what's your top 7 predictions for the end of the season? That's going to be an interesting question. And then I'll ask James come the end of the video. That's the current placement at the moment, so it's a very difficult one to do. But 53 of you in the live stream at the moment. Get your predictions in below, and also please remember to follow the predictions as we are diving into these predictions too, and give you predictions for them too. But that's what we are wanting to see. Kobe coming in all the shots to sneak 7th and win the playoffs. In your dreams, mate. The next one we'll have a look at. But just a bit on. We don't need to talk about Wrexham. No. Next one, Woking versus Wealdstone. But that sounded a bit disrespectful. But Wrexham recently, I think they took the foot off the gas, and it's getting back to that top form. I think it's a little frustrating. You look at Notts County and how they're just battering teams recently, grinding out results against sides in and around them. But Wrexham, they're still not dropping points, and it's still within their hands. And I don't think it's about performances as such. I think it's about just getting the results, and that's something that Wrexham still seem to be doing and still seem to be very relentless. But the next game then, Woking versus Wealdstone. A few weeks ago, this would have been easy. I'd say a Woking win. I'm still going to go over a Woking win. I think I said a Woking 1-0 win. But Wealdstone are picking some incredible results up recently. They went to Chesterfield in midweek, got a point there, beat York at home. They're looking a really good side and maybe a late runner for the playoffs. I know we had Paul on, who's a Wealdstone fan, the other day, and he mentioned that they simply just don't have a prolific goal scorer, and they're not taking the chances in front of goal, and that might be what comes down to the end of the season why they don't make the playoffs. But I just want to ask you, as a Barnet fan, and it's a difficult one, obviously, Wealdstone being rivals as such. What do you think of Wealdstone recently, and do you think they could be a late runner for the playoffs?
For sure. Like I know you say it's a rivalry, but for me, I've got so much admiration for what they've done in this league, being semi-professional. They've got a good manager. They're like what they do have that's like really fortunate for them is they're getting basically all the best semi-professional players in London, and that is such a like great thing to have. They've got players that are like people that like Max Kretschmar, Kinsella, people that don't want to be professional anymore or have got other jobs, but they're still unbelievable footballers. That they can attract those type of players, and no other team in this league can. And that's like it's great. It is a great foundation. It's a great club. They've got good support. I've got so much admiration for them. It's just a shame that they can be quite rowdy towards us. I understand it with the ground and everything. It's just like for us, we don't like. It doesn't really bother me.
Then I'm guessing.
No, like even them, like where did they even exist? The fans.
Where are they? I can say this because probably one of the only people that had never come in would be Bournemouth supporters.
Yeah, out of the two, I'd probably the rivalry probably is Wealdstone just because they hate us that much. It's like Spurs West Ham, I'd say, where West Ham hates Spurs, so Spurs like winning because West Ham fan. It's like that, but I've only got admiration for Wealdstone, and I actually do fancy them. I do fancy them to get that 7th spot. I think they've got enough quality in the team. Kretschmar's now fit again, I believe. I think he was out for a while, and that's when they were struggling to get results. He's now back. He got sent off against Wrexham, missed the game, and I don't think they won it. And then he's back again, and they start picking up points again. He's a massive player for them, and now he's fit, and they've got a good squad. I think they made some good signings as well. I definitely see them sneaking in. And imagine we finish 4th, they finish 7th. Barnet v Wealdstone at the Hive playoff.
That would be a game. And we talk about this forward line as well with clubs, and it's something that I think is crucial for any side that's wanting to break into the playoffs. I look at the likes of Barnet, they've got Kabamba. I look at the sides above them. Woking have obviously got Reece Brown, who's up front for them. Chesterfield, another side that are struggling to find that goal scorer, but they've seemed to found that now in Paul McCallum, who's a proven goal scorer at this level. Wrexham not, Langstaff and Mullin, they've both got with other players around that too. But I look at sides like Bournemouth, I look at sides like Wealdstone. There isn't particularly any prolific goal scorer in there, and they find themselves outside of the playoffs at the moment. But another player that I would like to mention for Wealdstone, who came in October and has recently seemed to be impressing, is Mike Obibio. He was at Huddersfield, came on to Halifax, I remember him, looked a good striker, and he could be that final piece in the jigsaw for them going forward, and maybe he can get a few more goals going forward and be that missing piece, and they can push on and break into the playoffs, because that's something they do need. All being said that on Wealdstone, I think Woking, they need to get back to winning ways after a defeat to Altrincham on Saturday, I believe, was it? Yeah, and then who was it they played on Tuesday evening, or did they not play?
Bromley, they beat Bromley 2-1 with 10 men.
That was it. Yeah, and that's something that I'd like to mention, the Bromley result too. But yeah, I think Woking, they'll just have a little bit too much from we've seen. Woking obviously took the Wealdstone's main goal threat off them. Woking have got players like that to the disposal, and that's going to be the difference.
Except the only thing is they don't on
Oh yeah, he's
Trust me,
injured, isn't he?
no, he's suspended. He got sent
What
off. So
for?
that's what affected my prediction. I think I actually went 1-1 on this occasion, just for the pure fact that Woking have lost their talisman for this game.
All right. Well, I'm still gonna stick with my 1-0. I think, yeah, like I mentioned, Woking have got too much going. Well, still got too much quality in the
Yeah,
squad,
they do.
being at home especially. But yeah, it's another factor about Reece Brown maybe being out that could change the result come 5 o'clock on Saturday. So yeah, you said 1-1 then.
Yeah, I did, and I think you're seeing the pattern here. I've sort of got all the teams around us drawing or losing and us winning. But there is like I've got theory behind it. Willstone are a good side. Both teams have identical records over the last 6 games: 1-2, drawn 2, lost 2. So I think they'll be a good match for each other. Like again, Woking, so much admiration for them. Obviously, they've got a big budget. Not as big as the top two and Chesterfield, but they do have a big budget. They've got a playoff budget. They've got a playoff squad. They just need to cement it now. But again, Willstone, they battle hard, and they battle against the big boys as well. That's what they've done all season. I think they'll do it again, 1-1.
Yeah, they've got a great manager as well, Wheelstone, in Stuart Maynard, another player. And I know we've been talking about this within Twitter, YouTube. People have been commenting who the National League Manager of the Year would be. And obviously there's Dean Brennan, Darryl Sal might have a say in that too. But also Stuart Maynard, if he can get this Wheelstone side in the playoffs, there's a strong candidate there, in my opinion, to get this award come end of the season too. The next game then that we'll have a look at. Do you want to go to Torquay versus Southend?
Yeah.
An interesting one because in the reverse fixture, of course, Torquay went to Southend earlier on in the season and got the result there. Torquay obviously lost in midweek. So did Southend to Notts County. This, of course, could be Southend's last ever league match, which is sad to hear. But like I've mentioned, and I think you've mentioned, I think they'll be okay come the end. Hopefully that ain't famous last words, but I think, yeah, Southend, they'll be fine. But just talking a bit about this game, we've got to talk about it as if they are going to survive, which I think most people are hoping will happen. I go into this game, I look at both sides. Torquay, an interesting factor is they haven't lost at home since November. Well, apart from the Notts County match, they haven't lost at home since the start of November. I think it's one defeat at home in 8. And that's something that I may add. Although they did lose in midweek, they've also shown signs of improvement. I look at Southend too, and I look at them. They're a strong force, but losing in midweek too. You know what? And it may be a bit of a shock to a lot of people, but I'd be going for a draw for this game. I think Torquay being at home, they've shown signs of improvement recently, and even that defeat to Notts County was only by a 1-goal margin. I can't see Southend getting all 3 points here, and I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in my opinion. What would your take be on this game?
Yeah, Torquay are in good form, and they I don't really know what it is. They're really effective. But obviously we lost to them last Saturday. I was there. We just think we couldn't keep the ball against them. They pressed really well, and when they did get the ball, I think Jarvis, the number 9, is one of the is really really good player. And in a better team, I think he'll score goals. I think he'll score a lot of goals. They've got decent wingers. They get balls in the box, and they've got really good patterns of play when they get in the final third. They're playing a lot of 1-2s, and they look like a side full of confidence when we played them at their ground last week. But at the same time, Southend, I've said that Southend were the best team we played all season at home, and we lost 3-0 to them. And I have so much admiration for how their players are coping with this.
Yeah.
Haven't been paid for months now. They could easily have got up and left. I know there's obviously rumours of some of their players going to other clubs. I know that we're probably looking at some of their players as well, just because it's obviously local, and we obviously we can't pay what they're on, but we can pay them. So it's that type of thing, and it's madness. It is mad that they've kept themselves together, kept themselves focused, and keep getting results. I said earlier in the show that I don't even count losing to Notts County as a break in an unbeaten run or anything. And I think Southend will have enough to get over the line against Torquay. I think they're a better side. Torquay weren't great defensively against us. We scored a goal from a free kick, but we did have a couple of other chances. I think Southend are going to win this 1-2-0.
Oh, that's a strong prediction that. But yeah, I'm still gonna stick with my 1-1 in my opinion. Next game then, which would we like to go to? We've got 3 games remaining. We've got Chesterfield v Oldham, Oldham v Solihull, and we've also got Notts versus Dagenham.
All right, get Alty v Solihull out the way first. We'll go with that one.
This was
And
a
then we
really
can do.
hard game to predict. I
Yeah, it
will say that
was.
when I was looking at that. I know Solihull midweek came to Halifax, looked a good side. Surprising that the likes of Sabara was on the bench. Kelly was also on the bench too. And then obviously Beck as well. He's a good threat in the air for Solihull too. And it seemed that they changed the game when they brought those three going forward on. Probably had the better of the first half against us, and then second half was a little bit more even. But Solihull, they looked a very good side. And like I've mentioned all season, I honestly think they are on paper, but they're just not consistent enough. And I look at Oldham at the moment, they're a side that are leading by example. They have this style of play. They've got this nice tiki-taka football style of play. I love the way that the club works, how you can lose someone like Malarkey, you can lose Con Clark, you can lose Colclough, yet you bring in new individuals in that January transfer window, and they're having an instant impact. And having a manager like Phil Parkinson at the helm will also help that. But going into the full-time module, they're leading by example, in my opinion. And yeah, maybe it is too much of a push now because of the players that they've lost to compete with these sides in and around the playoffs. But you have to give them a lot of credit for what they've done, especially these last couple of results. You know, defeating Barnet, a playoff contender, a side in the playoffs, comfortably in the playoffs, and then also defeating Woking. I just think it shows a lot of character of this Altrincham side. And you'll be going into this game being at home. You'd be thinking as an Altrincham fan, we can win this at home. You look at Solihull, 3 draws in the last 3 games. What would your take be on this?
Yeah, obviously we played Altrincham the other night and they stuffed us really. They started the game poor, and I sort of read their stuff before the game, and they started the game poor against Woking as well. We both went 1-0 up against them, and then I don't know what it was. They couldn't get the ball down. They couldn't get the ball against us. They sat off really deep, but then they were so good on the counter attack. The number 29, is it Limmy? It's one of their new signings.
Well, Linley,
yeah,
Linley, yeah, that's it.
yeah. He looked top draw. He was the best player on the pitch. Top player. Even the right back looked good. I don't know his name either, but they looked a really solid side.
He was on loan from Rochdale, and he was a good player.
Yeah, like I think they've worked the system really well. Actually, they've worked their loan system. They've sold obviously key players, but they've bought players in to replace them. Maybe not to go up this season, but maybe to build a foundation for next season. And then they're certainly doing that. They scored 4 goals against us the other day. Very clinical. They only had 5 shots. They were just very clinical. I think they'll win. I seriously think they'll beat Solihull at home. I think they'll win 2-0. I think they've got enough quality, and from what I've seen from Solihull in the 2 games we've played them this season, they're nowhere near the standards they've been set in the last couple of years. I don't know what it is. They can't get a consistent 11 out every week. Every week they seem to be chopping and changing. Sabara's in, Sabara's out, Kelly's in, Kelly's out, Dallas is in, Dallas is like it naturally doesn't work like that. You get a consistent 11 going, you get up and you pick up results. That's when you start to be a good side, and they just haven't done that all season. I've seen calls for Ardley to be sacked as well, but you know, Solihull not quite at it at the moment. Altrincham finding the form. I'm going to go Altrincham 2-0, and I'm actually going to go Altrincham to mount a playoff charge towards the end of the season.
Oh yeah, just looking at Altrincham at the moment in 13th, it is actually a big game. This, either side win this game, they're back in that playoff race. Certainly, 3 points back up to 45 points. I'm going to go the other way around, and a bit of a surprise, but I'm going to go for a Solihull win. Like I've mentioned, Dallas going forward. There's a lot of quality. Neil Ardley, I looked at Solihull and assessed them on Tuesday night, and I thought they're still a really good side. They just need to be a lot more consistent. But I look at 2 sides on paper, and I think Solihull, they're the better side. Their away form speaks for itself. Solihull have the 6th best away form in the division this season. So I'm going to go for Solihull 2-0 win, in my opinion. I think Altrincham, obviously, good form recently, but I think Solihull will be wanting to get that win after a number of draws. And, of course, Solihull, still a hard side to beat recently, which they are proving to be. Next game, then, we'll have a look at. Let's get which one was it now? Let me find it.
Chesterfield or not?
Yeah, let's go Chesterfield Oldham, because this is a game where it's a big crowd, a big difference between the 2 sides on placement. But then again, it's not an easy. Well, I'm going to go for a Chesterfield win, but I wouldn't say it's as smooth as it seems to be because Chesterfield have been very inconsistent. Had on poor run of form recently, dropping points to Wheelstone. I didn't expect that. Dropping points to Aldershot, didn't expect that. Oldham, then again, are just plain old Oldham, get a good few results, score a fair few goals, and then they go and lose to Gateshead away from home. How do you see this game faring?
Well, I saw a stat about Chesterfield the other day about their XG over they haven't won in 7 now, but they've had an XG of about 16 or 17, and they've scored 4 goals. It's madness, and that can't last. That can't be consistent. They've got a top striker in now in McCallum. We had him a couple of years ago. He got us into the playoffs single-handedly, pretty much. We had a half-decent side. We brought him in, turned us into a proper side. I know he hasn't been free scoring this season. I know he hasn't been fully fit this season. But I watched Joe Quigley against us, and there's no way McCallum could be as bad as that. Oldham, yeah, as you said, like completely inconsistent. I think they'll survive now this season. I think and I think they'll build on it for next season. But completely inconsistent. You'd never know what you're going to get. They've got Chesterfield away Saturday, then us on Tuesday away. So that's 2 massive away games for them where they're not favourites at all. I'm going to go with Chesterfield to get the result. I don't think they're going to win by much. They keep missing so many chances. Going to go 1-0.
Yeah, how I see it is that one game it's going to click for Chesterfield, and I think it's a perfect game for this. Oldham seemed very open recently. A lot of individual mistakes at the back. You know, those goals against Gateshead were just unacceptable. And to be honest, they were put on a plate for the Gateshead players, although Gateshead did take the chance in that game. But I think Chesterfield, like you've mentioned, Paul McCallum coming into the side, it's going to take him a few games to get going, but I see this as a perfect opportunity for him to get 1 or 2 goals. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Chesterfield win, in my opinion. But like I said, I think Oldham will be fine from relegation, but it's going to click at some point for Chesterfield, and I think it will be this Saturday. The last game then, Notts County versus Dagenham. This is a one that's quite, in my opinion, quite easy to predict. And I'm going to go for a Notts. I'm going to put the prediction out here. A Notts. I'm going to go for a 4-1 Notts County win. How do you see the game faring?
Well, yeah, Notts have won 4-1 3 games in a row, I think. But their Langstaff is the best player I've ever seen at this level. I've put that out there. I've even he's so similar to Jamie Vardy, but I actually think he might be a level above when Vardy was at this level. I know that's going to offend you, but I actually
I've got the Halifax top there.
I know, but seriously, this guy is different gravy. This guy, he's going to hit 40 goals. He'll probably score another hat-trick on Saturday. His first touch, his movement, his passing, his finishing, never seen anything like it. And when you've got a player like Rodriguez behind him, you've got Scott on the left and probably Lemon Hay Evans on the right now who they've signed today. It's just too good. It is just too good. And yes, Wrexham are very good, but I'm so sure that Notts County are going to pip them. I just think they're a better side.
Oh, that's a massive statement. That saying Notts are a better side, but the facts do speak for themselves. They are top, although Wrexham do have games in hand. But just on the side of Dagenham, it frustrates me so much because there's so much quality in that side. Marias, also Innie Effingham who's come into the side too. But I honestly, and I'm going to ask you for your opinion, because we've talked about this for a while. I honestly feel they don't have the right manager for the job at the moment. I think they're significantly underperforming. That's the budget that Dagenham have down there, the quality that they have on paper in the side should be in the playoffs. Yet they're 10th in the league and we've said this about a lot of clubs, but especially Dagenham, are extremely inconsistent.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's their problem. I think they ship goals too easily. I think they're not secure at the back at all. I love Elliot Jostrom as a keeper. I think he's one of the best in the league. But you look at their defence, they still got Elliot Johnson in there, who was at us, who I thought was all right. He was an all right defender, but there's no way he can still be starting in a playoff team. It's not possible. And it shows. They've obviously sold Josh Walker. They sold who else was up front for them? McCallum. Yeah. McCallum and Walker. So it's probably two of the best. Yeah, two of the best attackers in the league. They got loads of money for Walker. They've got a big budget. They should not be 10th in the league. It's ridiculous, to be honest. And yes, you can question the manager, but I really don't like questioning managers. I know he's had time, and people say give the manager time, but they've had so many injuries as well. A lot of their attacking players have been injured this season. Weston, Valetti. They've had injuries. Belanta even. I know he's fit now. He's fit back. He's fit now, and he scored the other day. Like they should be higher than where they are in the league, but at the same time, they've still got some players that are just not quite at the playoff level in the starting 11.
Do you blame the manager then? Do you think that there could be a better manager out there that could manage them?
Yeah. Well, I'll put it this way: if they had Dean Brennan in charge, they'd be in the playoffs.
Yes, yeah, I'd agree. I think a lot of sides would be at the moment. He's done so well at Barnet this season, but yeah, just on Dagenham, I'm very disappointed with them this season. And yeah, they can still break into the playoffs, but the thing is, I look at consistency, and they're just not consistent enough for me to break into the playoffs this season. That does come to the question. I can't let you avoid it. What would your top 7 predictions be?
Oh, this is horrible. Yes, I said it a minute ago. I think Notts County are going to pip. I just do think they're going to pip Wrexham. I'm to be honest. I think the games that are going to decide it, like obviously they play each other, but obviously Wrexham have the games in hand as well. But they both play us away, and coming to our place is not difficult. I mean, of course, no, that's not what I meant to say. Coming to our place is difficult. It's definitely difficult. So yeah, I think we've got enough quality to. Wrexham could concede too many goals. I think they concede goals against teams. I know they score more. They tend to score more and they get results. I'm talking like they're like Notts County are miles better and Wrexham are not. Wrexham still win pretty much every game. Notts are just too good. That's my opinion. So I'm going to go Notts, Wrexham. I think Woking finished third now. I think they've sort of they're in the best form out of everyone else. And then the next 4 is just ridiculous. I have not got a clue. Chesterfield can't buy a win at the moment, but they've got enough quality, so I'm going to put them 4th.
Yeah.
And now I have to talk about my club. We're currently sitting in 5th, and this is dependent on Southend obviously finishing the season. We're assuming that they do in this. I'm going to have.
If they're Barnet 6th, that'd be mine.
Yeah, I'd probably go Southend 5th, Barnet 6th, and I'm gonna sneak into the playoffs. I think Bromley are going to sneak into the playoffs this season. I think they've just got too much going forward.
They're always known for sneaking into the playoffs.
Yeah.
I remember not last season, it was the COVID season. They were 8th, 9th, 10th for the majority of the season. Bang, good end to the season. And they sneaked in 7th place.
Yeah, I think they're going to do the same thing.
Yeah. We've had people that have come in with their top 7 predictions. Who was it who came in? Someone said there's a second ago. We had Chris who said top 7 as they are, but fancy Wealdstone to pick Eastleigh for 7th. We had a few more further down here. Top 7, Wrexham first, Notts second, Woking third, Barnet 4th, Eastleigh 5th, Chesterfield 6th, and Wealdstone 7th.
Fair enough.
I'm loving how these can be so different, to be fair.
Yeah.
Whoa. Top 7, Notts, Wrexham, Woking, Barnet, Chesterfield, Southend, Boreham Wood. You know what? Boreham Wood are looking a strong side, but
is that noble knowledge, Trevor?
Yeah, it should be it. No, we're only joking, Trevor. Next, we've had Mr. Luke, who said top 7 Wrexham or Notts County for the title. Oh, come on, you've got to put a title.
Yeah, come on.
It's a cop-out, mate. Woking 3rd, Barnet 4th, Chesterfield 5th, Southend 6th, if they are still around. Yeah, okay. And then Boreham Wood 7th. A lot of people rooting for Boreham Wood. We'll see if we've got any more. A lot of people have been in the chat with predictions, etc. I think that might. Do we have any more? Oh yeah, we've had just. I want to read this comment out. Linny going to the top. He must be an Altrincham supporter. Yeah, he's a good player for Altrincham. That was the player we were talking about. Yeah. I think that might be. Unless it's reloading. Oh, it's reloading a lot. Yeah, I think we've moved on from that conversation now, it seems, based off the live chat. I think that most rounds up the podcast. Anyway, James, I really do appreciate you coming on once again to talk about all the upcoming National League predictions. hopefully, from my perspective, you have an extremely bad week because I need to regain the points. How embarrassing would that be come end of the season to lose to the guests who come on every single week? We had one more that did come in that said Wrexham, Notts, Woking, Barnet, Eastleigh, Chesterfield. But yeah, just back to this. Hopefully, I can regain a few more points on yourself. But once again, James, cheers for coming on. And would you like to give, as we've got quite a few more people that have tuned in now, would you like to give your YouTube a plug as you have made a return?
Yeah, well, I say I made a return. I made a return on Tuesday. I'm going to try and get some more out. Football with my gran, obviously. Go to Barnet with my grandma. I offer the ball knowledge. Well, so I think, and she offers the comedy. That's how I can sum it up in 10 words or whatever it was. Make sure you check it out. Seriously, I appreciate the support, and just want to give a shout out to Luke as well. He's doing great stuff. It really is like a pleasure to come on here, and you've got a great future in this type of thing, I think.
Thank you, James. I do appreciate that. And there's also a link in the description below for James's channel if you do want to be guided to find it there. It is Football with My Gran for anyone that does want to search it. And remember to drop him a sub too. I think the aim is to get to 1,000 as soon as possible.
It's gotta be.
We've had one more that came in. I'll just quickly read that out. And this was Notts, Wrexham, Chesterfield, Woking, Barnet, Southend, Eastleigh was his final predictions. But once again, James, thanks for joining me tonight. And thank you for everyone for getting involved with the live chat. Also, it is also great to see, I thought it'd be a one-off on Monday evening when we had over 50 people tuning in. But it seems to be more consistent now with the people that are also tuning in. So it's brilliant to see. And hopefully the numbers can keep rising. And yeah, it's a great opportunity for myself and anyone that wants to come on to just have a bit of a community and be able to talk with National League supporters, because it is quite limited apart from Twitter to have this community where you can talk together as National League supporters. But once again, James, thanks for joining me, and we will see you, I believe, on Monday evening for the preview of all the Tuesday fixtures. Bye for now.
Bye.
See ya.